morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Daslow, and with me, as always...
It's Thing 1 here, Tommy, and joining me on the couch, it's Thing 2.
What does that mean?
That novelty shirt that people wear?
My name's Adam Knox.
From Cat in the Hat. Thing 1 and Thing 2.
That was like one of the Dr. Seuss books that... I don't know if it was like...
You were banned from reading?
It might have been considered too naughty or something makes kids act up.
Yeah.
But I was more of a walk it in my pocket kind of boy.
Whoa.
You ever heard of that one?
No.
Oh, it's good.
Nah.
There's a walk it in my pocket.
Nah.
There's a blubber in my cupboard.
This sounds like the way some British sus person would get away with something.
Yeah.
Your brain
Hey kid,
cranking,
there's a walk it in my pocket.
cranking the gears, pouring steam out to find a word that you could say that wouldn't risk having to put asterisks in a subtitle.
Creepy.
Yeah. I just feel embarrassed that I was more familiar with the merch from Cat in the Hat than I was with Cat in the Hat. Because I have seen people walk around wearing Thing 1, Thing 2 shirts.
Right.
But I always just thought it was like... like people, I think it's like a big thing in Bali. People get those T-shirts that just say same but different.
Oh,
like
sure.
those kind of like knockoff. I always just thought it was like something like that.
My name's Ben Bedell, by the way.
Oh,
yeah.
Was that there was that
That's Adam Knox.
Dr. Seuss, I already said it. There was that Dr. Seuss
Tommy
character,
Daslow,
Stussy.
37.
I saw a lot of people wearing that
Oh,
T-shirt.
yeah.
I was in
There's a Stussy in my bussy.
now you're
There we
it.
go.
That's what it was like. It was a really good book. Think of any place there might be in the house.
Yeah.
Go on.
Attic.
There's a
space.
Gradic in my attic. There's a Gold Jace in my crawl space.
Okay.
That's all he did. Then he left his wife while she had cancer.
Nice.
Did you know that about him?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's
All great artists have a dark history.
There's
Hey,
a
look.
cruelty in my Seussity.
Having had cancer, I fully support anyone getting the fuck out of there.
It's a hassle.
Not fun to be around.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of not fun to be around, I was in a Dr. Seuss musical in high school.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Seussical.
Seussical the
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
A Dr. Seuss musical.
Yeah, sorry.
You mean the only Dr. Seuss
No,
musical?
I mean annoying West Side Story.
Yeah.
We just made it awful. I want to be in a Blairica. It was terrible time for everybody.
Who were you in the... Is the Seussical... is it like a... is it an MCU style, like all of his characters together in the one thing?
Kind of. The Cat in the Hat, like, is the jester narrator, the
Okay.
trickster.
Nice.
Alright.
The Loki.
Yeah, someone who Jeremy Strong would spend 25 minutes thinking of synonyms for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was the general something or other, and I had to trade, like, one of the Who kids.
That would be a good name for him. General something or other.
Yeah, he
That
was
is-
just
that-
general.
Yeah, that is sort of what it'd be.
Yeah.
I went and I just showed up with a scene from Streetcar for the audition because I thought it was a general audition.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, an audition joke. We've got the couch for it.
The Biz.
But the little Who from Whoville gets conscripted into the military. to
Cindy
fight.
Lou Who?
No, it's some other kid.
Really?
Yeah, I think he might be a Seussical original, but he is a Who from Whoville.
But so you've got... So what, they're all popping up? You've got Horton, you've got the cat, you've got Grinch is popping up.
You might be surprised to hear this, but I don't fully remember. But I do remember the song verbatim. It's drilled into my head. The military academy is a place where he shall be sent. We'll drill the silliness from his head. It's sure to make it. Then we'll teach him fighting and left and righting until he's muscled and tan. A hut, 2, 3, he's pathetic. A hut, 2, 3, unathletic. A hut, 2, 3, but I bet we can. There's like passwords I don't remember because that's in there.
What a turnaround in the same sentence from you going, you might be surprised to remember, I don't remember all the details of the musical. However, I do remember every single word of this song.
Yes.
I don't remember anyone else's involvement.
Yes.
Okay.
My involvement, the spotlight on me, I can recall every moment. No, it was.
Did you have to eat green eggs and ham beforehand? Or in the musical? There must have been some.
Surely.
Have
right?
to have been.
Yeah, surely. Who can say? Because I don't think anyone was paying attention when they were forced to come and watch their children at this school that they'd paid money for, by the way.
Yeah, this is a school musical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always funny to me was like, the school plays where you're like then selling tickets and you're just kind of having to beg for your classmates to come along and spend money.
Maybe I'd be more willing to do this if I thought my kid was learning business or economics or something like maybe medicine.
Yeah.
But nah, he's
Yep.
also doing drama as a subject.
Yep.
So
I think think it's more like your friends sort of being guilted into going along, because it's like when you're in school, your free time is like such a precious commodity. It's come along at night and be at school.
No, that problem solves itself by being in the choir and the school play. Your friends are already there.
That's true. Being a drama geek, what a life.
Anyway, the reason I said thing 1 and thing 2 is because Adam and I are dressed identically today. Essentially,
kind of different colors, but cross-hatch patterns, black jeans, dirty old runners.
Yep.
Tommy's got a nice jumper on, and if you've made it this far after us talking about Seussical, you're one of the real fans.
Yeah. You're like, it's a pleasure to listen to them talk about school musicals.
Honestly.
Because I know just around the corner, there's a description of what they're wearing.
Yes. Yes. Hold off on the video games. We're not here for that, honestly.
Well, you know what? This one I do like.
Okay.
This little thing that was from this week that is sort of fits in because it's from the 90s, a time when all of us would have been in school.
Yeah.
Did you see, Tommy, I know that Ben did, the leaked Sega documents from the 90s?
I actually did not see this, no.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Let me regale you.
Please.
Oh, man, I've fallen right back into my school chorus. I'm a bard and I shall make some merry. So there were a bunch of, it's like a 280-page PDF thing of all these, like 1996, I think, documents from Sega of America. Various different things. A lot of it very dry, sort of numbers, and here's the sell through of this game, and we're making this percentage profit off of it and whatever. But there's some little bits peppered
nuggets
in there that are great, especially with like all the Microsoft stuff coming out recently and a lot of their emails and whatever. The tone's the same.
Right.
Business people are business people throughout the ages.
Which, just to quickly deviate that, I think we talked about it last week, that it kind of leaked the budget of Horizon Forbidden West and The Last of Us 2 from redacted documents just because they hadn't they'd crossed them out, but you could still see through the other side.
Yeah, you just held it up to the light.
Which seems very unethical to report on, because it's like, the person did try to have this information not accessible to you.
No, it's fine. Your nipple fell out. It's okay. You're in public. It's
true. When
is.
the cops investigate a crime, if the criminal's hidden the evidence, it's just rude to actually find it.
No, I hid the knife under the carpet.
Anyway, the console wars never change.
And these ones, this was Sega when they were on the back foot. Not the full back foot yet, but pretty back.
They're teetering.
Yeah, they're like sort of midway down the millipede, where they are talking in these, like, I suppose emails. They must have had those by then, but their communications
could be faxes.
It's people going like, there's this one that's really good from
Sonic.
I forget it. Yeah, he's like, I just pissed on Mario. Sick. They're talking about like, well, what they don't get in America is that the PlayStation is bullshit in Japan. I was in 10 different shops in Tokyo recently, and the kids are going crazy over Sega Saturn. There are boxes flying off the shelves, and the PlayStation's in a dog shit corner. We're kicking their ass over there, and it's going to come over here. But then the others are like, why didn't the baseball game come out while the baseball was on? And it's
so wait, this is Sega Japan communicating with Sega America?
It's Sega America stuff, and then sometimes they're like, one of the guys in Japan told me to tell you this.
Right.
So it's all, I think
I do love
America
that
stuff.
era of games companies in different, that, their base is in one country and they're having to like fly over and have these meetings, and things are coming out at different times and being changed, whereas now it's like, things will be translated, but they come out at the same time.
Right.
You have to imagine like Nintendo Australia just gets like an email the day before a direct's happening, being like, "Hey, this is happening."
Here's the rundown. Yeah. Confidential.
There's a really good one of like an ad for, I think it was just the Sega Saturn in general, because they mention a few different games in the footage of it, and the notes on the ad are like, why did you put all these Hare Krishnas in the ad?
Yeah.
We want to have kids in here because that's who we're marketing to, and just them having to interact with the wacky ads of the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It's like them in an airport like playing it and going like, hey, damn, maybe technology is pretty cool. And it seems like a good ad to me. Like PlayStation was doing all those weird ads back
Totally,
then.
I was going to say.
I would love to know
the
more.
The tattoo of the PlayStation, like they're all weirdly...
The PS2 stuff, do you remember that? The third place
Yes.
stuff where it was just like a fucking duck walking,
Yes.
and then they'd be like PlayStation 2, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's buy only that one.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, like running around in his costume.
Yeah,
like,
flipping
in
off
malls and
everyone
shit.
the fucking bird.
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about that era. Like there was a Smash Brothers ad that was like all the characters in like the big mascot costumes, just like punching the shit out of each other in a park. Like
That's good. That's a good concept.
it's not, but like imagine Nintendo of Japan sort of seen that because that is like such a Western approach to advertising at the time and being like, what the hell is this? Like, I'd love to know more about that era and how those different branches sort of interacted with each other.
You think Japan is going to find that an odd and ribald take on advertising?
Well, yeah.
Have you seen any of the Japanese
No,
stuff?
true. Maybe that's a bad example, but they had that they had like a Game Boy SP, like Advanced SP ad that was like Mario with a tribal tat and stuff like that. Which just little things like that where the American gets to sort of do what they want,
Right.
And then it surely going up
The
the
cultural
flagpole, like,
trends,
and it's like, well, hey, we got to sell this over here.
Well,
Yeah.
Sega of America was very separate to the Japan one during the time, which was part of why they like fell apart so much.
I think they kind of took the lead, right? I think when they were making Sonic 2, they did the bulk of it.
My
think.
understanding of it is that, especially in like marketing and business terms, they were very like arrogant and like, we know what we're doing and fuck you guys, we know this, and then fucked it from that arrogance. But
and then there's also that that story that may just be urban legend about Yuji Naka touring the Sega America offices and just ripping on everyone in Japanese to his mate that he's there with. And all the people in the office going, obviously we speak Japanese.
let's ask him if that rumor's true. Hey, Yuji, you got a visitor.
Yeah.
That's my attempt at prison noises. But there's a lot of it in there is like, we got to fuck PlayStation.
Yeah.
We got to drop the price right before they do. We got to tell everyone we're more technologically advanced. But they're like, continue the perception of technological superiority. Like they know that it's not. And a lot of like direct competition. Like we got to nail down exclusives. We got to make sure the third parties are publishing for us.
I guess they knew what they should have been doing. They just failed to execute on it.
Yeah. And I think that it was the similar thing to like Sony with the PS3 where they had like, in the West at least, done really well in the previous generation. And so we're like, we're too big to fail.
Yeah.
And then kaboom. But
and there's sort of no roadmap too, because it's still like it's still so new at that point.
Yeah, sure. And it's the same as sneakers and whatever though, where if you're Nike, you're like, we'll put out the new Nikes before the Adidas come out or whatever. So it's all that bit. But the thing that here's my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
It was leaked by some like website or Twitter account or something called Sega Retro.
It's run by George W. Bush.
Oh shit!
That's my conspiracy.
You've gone deeper down the hole than I have. It's good timing to have this stuff be there to maybe make the Microsoft stuff seem a little more
palatable.
Yeah, and like,
right.
well, this is kind of how everyone's always done it.
Right.
This is how the industry works. They were talking more about exclusives. Microsoft saying, hey, we want to put our games anywhere.
Yeah,
be a shame if something happened to this Nintendo Switch.
Right.
And so, like,
I mean, we want to put our games everywhere except for the Bethesda ones.
those are only here, but we'd love to put them everywhere, but they won't let us because so it I don't know. It's an interesting look back at now. You know, at least as a hardware manufacturer, defunct company. So it's not like, and it's old enough that it's not like this fucks anybody's pie.
Yeah,
right.
But
Jason Biggs style.
But it is like, it's really interesting still.
I think I can watch the video to see me and Ben make eye contact just before we said that, by the way.
I don't think that's a crazy conspiracy. You know, like you read up on any sort of this corporate espionage stuff or just general business. This stuff happens all the time.
Stuff doesn't leak by accident.
Massaging the perception.
Unless you've got a too bright of a photocopier and then it can leak by accident.
Yeah. Or if you're getting on in age.
Sure, that can happen, but they've got solutions for that.
That's right.
It's
that would have been a great segue into an ad if we just happened to have
adult
diaper companies sponsoring us.
Hey, if you're out there, incontinence pads, get in touch.
Yeah.
Some people listen to our podcast driving across country, and if you can't afford to be late, maybe you can afford some products from the good people at Bigham's. They're for big people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Having to get a plus-size adult diaper.
I reckon they're well in stock
yeah.
in some parts of the world.
Some parts. I live in a part of the world.
That's not what I was saying.
Well, I do. I'm just saying it.
Okay.
Sorry, an accidental leak. The whole thing is really cool, and I had to skim through those documents on the track. And it's also cool seeing like it's all printed out stuff, but then there's handwritten notes on some of them.
Oh yeah,
and the ones where it's like, okay, coming up to this time, we've got to spruik this game and this game and this game. And there's one person who's clearly gone through and written and Virtua Fighter 2. Why are you talking about Virtua Fighter 2 and Panzer's Dragoons Vi?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, you named that one poorly, but also, I love seeing just stuff like that of like thinking back to if you'd have gotten that in one of the magazines in the 90s.
Oh, sure.
What a bombshell it would have been.
Yeah.
Baby Jason Shrek.
Yeah.
Doing his first essay.
Spelling mistakes everywhere.
Yeah.
All the E's are backwards. I don't know how old he is, but probably not that old.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I wonder if this will become more like the result of this this ongoing case will be that just more transparency with this kind of stuff.
It's
More
kind of
leak
just
and
the way
more-
of the world now as well. Like you just
Yeah.
almost have to be because it's so likely that stuff's going to come out
Yeah.
of this nature. Like even Nintendo there was like a Spanish developer that went unnamed, but it would like some leak on Twitter was like, hey, in Spain they've got a Switch 2 dev kit. It's there, and people
El Switch Dos.
I
believe.
honestly that would be a pretty fucking good name.
That'd
for
be
the
a
whole-
great
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
I forget who it was, but it's someone who has
Mario?
worked with pissed on Sonic. I got it back. That was what leaked. I forget what they worked on, but it was something for a Nintendo game. People pretty quickly were like, it's got to be these guys.
Right. Let me try and find. There was like a great thing that I read that was an apparent leak about some new Switch hardware, and it's so obviously made up because just the way that it's written is very funny.
I miss that shit. I miss
Yeah.
seeing all the photoshopped pictures of the Xbox 720.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like 50 buttons on the controller, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
looks like an iPhone.
Which PlayStation was the one that was a sphere or whatever it was?
all of them were all things
Yeah.
that, but it would have been, I guess, the 2 or probably the 3 because
Yeah,
that was internet was popular.
True.
It had already become. It was a sensation by then.
That's right. The PS2 had the Ethernet cable, but yeah, I feel like the 3 was like a blue orb with like discs coming out of it. And
There are a
shit.
ton like that. Like the 360, there's a ton. They're so bad looking.
Yeah.
and they look nothing. But it makes sense where like that original Xbox prototype that was just a big metal X. Have you seen that?
yes.
They've made some stupid shit. Those PS3 controllers that were originally going to be
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
boomerang shape.
I couldn't find the article, but it was basically the way it's written is so funny. It's like a guy who
We did so much padding for nothing. There was
So
nothing in the
sick.
box.
10 minutes on, like, oh, who was in Dr. Seuss books again? They're like, yeah, I couldn't find the article about the video game thing.
I
But
wanted to quote it verbatim, but I do. I remember it. So it's like a guy who he's apparently, and this is a guy with no previous like leaking history or anything. So it's one
Right.
of these accounts that comes out
Dry
of nowhere.
pants.
So already you're taking this with a grain of salt. He's like, yeah, I work at the airport, and this guy came through, and he had a big like padlocked metal suitcase, and he had to open it up for security screening, and it was it sort of it looked like a console, but it was very very rustic and very kind of like beaten up, and it had some little mouse wheels on the side of it under the triggers, and it was clearly just like a development prototype unit. And I sort of wasn't meant to see it, and the man was very secretive and weird about it. But then he dropped his wallet, and a business card came out, and it said Nintendo Head of Development.
Oh,
And it's
God.
just
then
like-
everyone clapped because I picked it up and I said, did you drop that? This guy just telling a story about how he let a bomb go on a plane.
It's like, this is absolute I loved reading it because it was like, you haven't looked over this, you haven't cast a critical eye over this and like shown it to someone else and been like, give me some feedback. Would you buy that this was like the citing the business card at the end is just...
I looked over his shoulder on the plane and he was playing Tomb Raider, but Lara Croft was nude. I think there is a code out there. Luigi was playable in Mario 64.
I also love to imagine like a guy from Nintendo Japan bringing the prototype over. He's just on like a commercial flight. Just having to go. It's like there's no way that's not like a private jet situation, or probably more likely people from the American branch heading over there for a meet.
Right.
Like they're not taking this thing on the road.
Oh, if you're taking it with you, we'll put it in the biggest, most difficult suitcase we can find.
Yeah,
All metal okay with you?
As carry-on as well.
But mate,
Fucking hell.
They'd be out there by
carry
now,
on.
surely, those Switch 2 dev kits. So I kind of just...
Yeah.
I buy it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all
Surely.
swirling. It seems like we're getting close to some kind
Full
of
toilet
announcement.
style. Swirling, baby.
Oh yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be swirling sooner than we expected.
August something, right?
August the 3rd.
Yeah, fuck
and it was
yeah.
going to be the 31st on the PC. And then it's still on the 6th of September, and this is why they moved it, because that's the same day as Starfield. On the PS5
Yeah,
it is
that's
out
right.
there. And they were like, that's probably fine because the Starfield's not out on the PS5. Woof. I hope the skips in the courts for a little longer. But Baldur's Gate 3 has been in like early access for 2 years or something now.
Right.
Just like the first act is sort of playable in there and has been developed. But yeah, 3rd of August, that now comes out on PC. And I was thinking, because I know this happened once, the date being brought up relatively recently. And at that time, we were like, has this ever happened before? I don't know. And it must have, because now I can't remember what the one that it's definitely happened before with was.
I have a feeling that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 they moved up.
I think you've nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with digital stuff, like you can do it relatively easily now. So
True.
that's
You can-
very cool.
You buy get the pre-order and you get it 5 days early. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having a go on that and having
Apparently it's fucking huge.
like 100 hours
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah.
But August is pretty empty until the end of it, so they've done it.
They've
Yeah.
done it. They've
Smart
nailed it.
move.
I'm going to be traveling to a mystical city
Oh.
by the name of Melbourne
Oh yeah.
to play on my computer.
Well, we travelled to a mystical suburb called Richmond
Yeah.
the other day.
Yes, we did.
We got invited to a launch event for Everybody 1-2 Switch by our friends in at Nintendo.
Yep.
We went to a little function centre
Yes.
with a wallpapered fake library, which fooled all of us.
Yeah.
No, it did not fool me.
Well, it
You
fooled...
both walked in and went, I might pick up a book. What? And I went, yeah, I've been to a shitty bar in Richmond before. I've seen the wallpaper.
Who would go on a podcast and lie?
Yeah, exactly.
I genuinely did get fooled by it, and then, looking at it a bit closer and putting on my like big, thick glasses
Yeah.
that I use to drive with my chin on the steering
Your
wheel.
nutty Professor Jerry Lewis glasses. Yeah.
It was simply wallpaper. Big TVs around, a bunch of
I'll
booths.
tell you what wasn't fake.
What?
Was the fact that they were refusing to serve alcohol
Yeah.
at an open bar with beer on tap and spirits lining the wall.
With the only people I saw even bat an eyelid at that being in this room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
like we go in and there was like a list of like drinks that were like kind of, provided.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, can I get a beer? And the guy was like, oh, no, we're just supplying the ones that are on here.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, well, I'm happy. Can I pay for a pint? And the guy was like, no.
No, we're
And he's
not
like,
serving
big,
beer.
prominent taps just like staring at
We'd just come from a bar like 4 doors down,
Yep.
which was lovely. They were very nice to us there. We were there in
Kryptonite
like
too.
3:30 in the afternoon.
Yep.
Gave us some chippies. We could have stayed there for another pint because the whole thing didn't kick off for another like 20 minutes. So I was like, I was just it was beer o'clock.
I
You
was
guys were Friday thirsty.
Yeah.
I was at the end of 2.5 weeks of being really crook, and that was like my first day that I sort of felt better. So God, I was just fanging for a cold one. I was like, I'm back. I want to get leathered up and play Everybody 1-2 Switch.
It would have been fun to play with a couple of beers under the belt, but no, it was mocktails and juice only.
I feel like it may not have been fun still, too, because we played some of the games from it, and like the only time I played 1-2 Switch was at a similar Switch launch event.
Yeah.
And that was like interesting because it was the first time touching the Joy-Cons, and it was like, wow, it feels like there's marbles in there.
Mm-hmm. There were beers there.
But
and a helicopter out the front. Remember?
Yeah. The races were on.
Yes.
And we played some of the games here. The big difference with everybody 1-2 Switch.
It was a big party as well. There was like 40 people, 30 people, sort of mixing around
at this thing on Friday.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the part of the point of that, I guess, being that the new thing here compared to 1-2 Switch is that there's big group games that you can play in this, that you can use your phone to
with up to 100 people.
Up to 100. I don't know if they were expecting that many, but
maybe
they didn't get them.
It would have been packed if there was 100 people there.
Yeah,
I would have
been able to
liked
get
that
to the bookcase.
It would have been nice to have a look at. It was interesting to see with maybe 20-ish people on each team, a bit less, but the games weren't good.
Some of them are, yeah. It is cool having that in there. Like it's Nintendo don't generally tend to get you to use anything sort of outside of their ecosystem, but it's very like Jackbox Party Pack and
worked really smoothly.
It did,
it's like scan a QR code on the screen, and then it'll divide you into teams and be like stand on the left side or the right side of the TV in this team, and like all of that was smartly done.
You can take a little profile pic. Through the app, through the like thing that you're in, or you can like load up a picture from your photo library. Then when you're in like the waiting room on the screen, you can like send little messages that pop up for everyone. Yeah. Ben kept sending, "I really want a beer." That was like scrolling up on the screen constantly. So yeah, all that kind of side of it is cool. The first one that they got us all to play in a big group was this UFO game where you're in teams and you're each trying to entice a UFO to land on your side of the screen by sort of raising your arms up and down in the air, sort of in time
to the beat
with this beat,
but it wasn't on the beat, and like everyone was copying the picture of the alien, which was different to the ha ho that was going in the thing, so it was really confusing.
Yeah, it did it, and it goes for like 3 minutes or something. Yeah, arms really sore by the end of it.
You got to be kind of like squeezing your phone to have your thumbs like on the sort of activation panels on the screen.
Right.
I was really going for it. Got to the end.
I didn't play this.
Come up right down the bottom, 0% success rate. I was like, and that's fine to completely fail at a game, but you got to know. I was just like, but why? I have no idea what I did wrong.
Marching to the beat of my own drum, but it felt like it was not working.
Yeah,
in a really like there's so many of you doing it too. It can't give you feedback on the screen individually.
Right.
I felt like the alien.
You couldn't figure out like, and this is so stupid. But the sound the alien makes the alien makes two sounds. Hap, hop. Mm-hmm. Which of those would you think was up, and which would you think was down?
I think hap was up.
Yep.
And ho was down.
Yeah.
Because one's higher and one's lower.
Wrong. They're from a different planet where gravity's backwards.
Yeah.
And music's the opposite.
They're the upside down man.
That was throwing me the fuck off, to be honest. So we did that one.
Also, there was, I'm sure if people were like checking our Instagram stories, I put up footage of it.
Yep.
And like Nox is offbeat for everyone else. Tommy is fully synchronized with everyone, yet Tommy gets 0. It was like baffling.
And I was offbeat because I was so confused why everyone was doing it in that timing. I think just because as a group, everyone had just fallen into a rhythm together.
I think so, yeah.
But it was very different from...
And you like fell somewhere in the middle as well.
And
it's
exactly.
Like, why?
And then like, because the feedback from the screen doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
So it was sort of weird. Then you get this other one.
I tried to take the Nintendo representative aside and tell them that I play drums. So actually, if anything, I would have been perfect. I would have been the only one perfectly in time. So therefore, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying your Switch might be broken.
Yeah,
you might need to like recalibrate the unit. Again, it's not a big deal. It's not a big issue. Mm-hmm. I'm not upset. I'm just for you. Like you should know.
Well, that's what they're there for too. Because I took one aside to be like, hey, sorry, do you mind if I just read one of these books for a little bit? Is that okay?
Yeah.
They are real books over there.
Yeah, I took one of them aside and was like, just tell me where the beers are, okay? I know there's beers here, just tell me where they are.
Like, now, I'm going to do this either way, but just to ask you a favour, can you turn a blind eye while I just suck straight out of the tap for about 5 to 10 minutes?
Hey, sorry, just one more question. What's Mario really like? Is he like nice, or I bet he'd be a bit up himself.
Have you guys seen these leaked Sega documents? What do you think?
Sorry, where is this?
Do you think that Osama bin Laden really did 9/11, or was it maybe George Bush?
Hey, sorry, can I just tell what does it mean if someone starts talking about George Bush heaps, but way after the fact? Is that like a bad sign? Should I look up like their search history, check for any letter Q anywhere?
No.
Is that...
By the way, this is nothing to do with Nintendo themselves, but I don't think you guys saw this. I don't think I've told you this yet.
Oh,
While
okay.
you were playing one of the games, I was standing there and some food started coming around.
Yes.
And some mac and cheese croquettes came out. I
Nice.
love a mac and cheese croquette.
Yep.
And I think there were like maybe two anyway, I saw these two guys had gotten some and had some, and then they got a staff member over and like said something and like handed them back, and I was like, God, complaining about a mac and cheese croquette at a fucking event. What's the issue? And then I took a bite into mine, frozen in the center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had the same thing, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like, God, get a load of these little babies. What's their problem? Oh.
Just a small correction as well. They're not called croquettes; they're called alligators. Anyway, the second game we played as a group, there were some ones where you do them with smaller numbers using the controllers.
Yes,
But the other group phone was like a quiz one.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
That I didn't like either because it asked you
No.
3 questions and they were all like extremely simple because
Yeah.
what it's trying to do is make the point of it your reaction time to answer. but
Totally.
I
It was
didn't
like
that.
what color is a banana? And then you wait for the option to show up, and it's like yellow, red. And it was basically the fastest.
Red. Real books. But like
Yeah, it was not. And
It could just come up on the screen, push the buzzer now.
exactly. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
when you're hearing, a quiz, cool. Some
Yeah.
but yeah, and it would have been fun if it's like old Nintendo trivia or like
Yeah.
some general ones as
Yeah.
well. Maybe there's more in there. I haven't played every variant of each of these games.
I did
think-
one that was
yeah.
like visual based, and it would come up with I don't know, it'd come up with like an apple and an orange. The picture would be there for like a few seconds, and then you would be waiting for the question to come up. So you're
Oh, okay.
you're not immediately knowing. It's not just straight up like, what's the answer to this? So I imagine in that one, each time
How do the
you
two compare?
I imagine each time you're playing it, maybe like the pictures might be the same, but the question that it's asking you about them is
yeah.
always changing. So you can't just like straight up be like, oh, well, I know this is just going to be which one is a dog. It's not like it'll
Right.
be like which one of these has
I know,
whatever.
but they felt like doing a capture.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
like it.
And each game, it seemed like, because they had all the games unlocked, apparently you have to play through them.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you actually buy the game and start fresh, you have to play through each game to unlock the like modes. So I think like
They're
there was-
about 17, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do you play like a 20-minute where it cycles through them at random, and
Right.
then once you've done them in that, then you can just sort of sit and access them whenever you want.
And I think each one had like a slightly more complex variant. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
the quiz, we played like baby version of the quiz, but then the next one I think was maybe a bit harder or wasn't.
They were like, it's set up to like quiz 4, and like I
Right.
say, I haven't seen how they get, but I don't know that it just even as sort of because if you're going to do it with a big group, you're imagining it's like, a big family reunion, some kind of get together. There's a bunch of the kids
Christmas
are here.
time, whatever. Yeah,
We're all going to do this thing that it like right move to make it accessible or whatever, but then it's also with that those couple not engaging. But then I did like the third one we did, which was it'll show you a color on the screen, and then you've got to use your camera on your phone to match the color as close as possible with something in the room. You can't
Yep.
take a photo of the screen. You've got to go find an object that is as close as you can to that color. One person had like a bag with like a pride rainbow on it, and they absolutely wiped the floor with everybody because they had access to each and every color.
yeah.
But that one was cool. And
Yeah,
like, I
That's a
hadn't
neat
seen something
idea,
like
and
that
that's
before.
a good like. You can imagine that being fun at someone's house. You kind of like
Moving you
roaming
around
around
the
different
room,
rooms.
yeah.
and
That was
stuff.
I think it was
Yeah.
smart. It was a
Opening
smart,
up all their
like,
drawers.
And again, like it's a good way of using like some of them. It's letting you use a smartphone just in place of a Joy-Con for the motion control stuff. But this is like it actually needs the phone. It actually like uses the phone in a really smart way.
That was cool. There are a few others of like pumping up a balloon and as close as you can before it bursts, like holding the controller still when what's the time, Mr. Wolf spins around.
Squid Game, girl game, yeah.
It'll always be what's the time, Mr. Wolf to me. That's what it was in the Sega documents, and that's where I land forever.
I heard
Squid Game's shorter to say. So
what's the time, Mr. Wolf is more polite.
I heard this multiple times from Nintendo reps kind of setting people up with that game and saying it's just Squid Game. Like they've clearly all decided, but I'm like, that's very. You would think it would go the opposite, where like
Splatoon.
someone up at head office has been like, now you are not allowed to reference. Well, you are not allowed to reference the fact that this is just Squid Game.
Yes.
But yeah, it's Squid Game.
Squid Game. It's public domain. Squid Game took the game. From, tradition anyway.
And yeah, the usage of the phone stuff was smart and worked really well. It was really easy and didn't like gum up on us, which was good.
Yeah.
The Joy-Con stuff is the same as a bunch of Switch games have done. That it like is variable how much it feels like that thing is responding to you. Really,
yeah. It feels like it's not doing. I don't think there's any, because when the original 1-2 Switch launched, a big thing of it was the HD Rumble, and you had those games. Some of them we played at that event a few years ago that were pretty cool, kind of tech demo-y things where you had to like rotate the Joy-Con around, and you could feel kind of balls rolling around
the
in there.
marble thing was
yeah, and I don't think this has anything kind of like that where it's using the sort of HD. It is more like. Yeah, it's motion control stuff. So
it's party game things, which they're fine. It didn't look like, and again, I haven't gone through all of them, but it didn't look like there were maybe enough there for it to be a lasting thing at all.
So yeah, I had a little session with someone where I played through the balloon one, the what's the time, Mr. Wolf one.
Oh, the ninja one.
A Ninja Stars one where one person is like flicking the Joy-Con to shoot ninja stars, and then the other person is deflecting them with a sword, and you can play with like up to however many people, where you'd have one of you with a sword and then like 8 of you shooting the ninja stars, so you can be surrounded and you're actually having to like work in the space that you're in physically, which could be really fun. So yeah, outside of the quiz and the UFO one, which I don't think are particularly good, all the other ones we saw or played looked fun or were fun to play, but yeah, for a full-priced game, there's just not lots in there. Like I would maybe break this out when some people came around, but the main thing I felt when we left was I don't really see why the best ones in here weren't just folded into that WarioWare movement game that's coming out in November. Seems weird to me.
The phone stuff is the stuff where, like, if they'd have gone more into that, like you say, using the room and like having a physical interaction in that way, that's the stuff that was the most engaging with it. Because like, and that was the idea with the first one, right? Is it's like it's a game where you don't have to look at the screen much,
right?
And it's sort of doing that, but yeah, the I don't like the style of it either. It's got this very sort of bland.
It's very generic. Yeah.
What? You're Nintendo. Just have fucking Luigi host the game or something.
Was he busy?
Yeah. Why would you not use your biggest selling power?
I mean, that's been the weird issue since, even 1-2 Switch. It was like, why isn't this a WarioWare game? Why isn't this branded in some way? Why isn't this just a pack-in? Like, it should just be on the console when you get it.
And if it's people and whatever having fun, I kind of get that of like, oh, we want to show, but like make it look interesting still.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really, but it's not the train wreck that the whispers were before it had come out, where they're like, "Oh, no, Nintendo's embarrassed of this."
It's actually fun. I had a good time playing those games.
It's probably a good game for a young family.
I bet if
I don't think it's a bad game.
Yeah, if you've got young kids and your kids are regularly having friends over, I can see this being a lot of fun. Like, there's so many examples from like every generation where something that came out when we were little kids we loved, and then you get a bit older and you're like looking up the Wikipedia and it's like, oh, this was panned beyond belief when it came out, and it's like, that's one of my favorite things of all time. Like, you're just so much less discerning when you're a little kid. But so I think if that's the audience, if you've got young kids, it's fun. It's like pretty easy to show people how to do the games, and what's in there is good. But I just think there's yeah, there's just not quite enough in there.
For it being so light, there are too many misses, and yeah, it like I don't think it will have staying power necessarily. But kids can also repeat stuff a weird amount of times.
Totally. Like I'm sure there's a
But they shouldn't
family
have to.
who's got everybody 1-2 Switch and like Mario Kart and one other game, and they love it. You know, like
Snakes and Ladders is the same every time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like
And we should say, well, I'm going to say we got Tommy and I.
yeah, I didn't, so I'm clean for this one.
Tommy and I got
Yeah.
given a copy of the game on the way out and a pair of Joy-Con.
Yep.
So
The
clearly
new pastel coloured.
we're not influenced by getting
Yeah.
given free shit.
Yeah,
Knox left to get the
I'm so
train,
not
and then like
influenced
1
by-
minute later, they came around with goodie bags.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Now that he's gone, we can get the real books out and give you guys. Yeah. I wish I'd have gotten those Joy-Cons. Those little.
They're nice,
The pastel
yeah.
colors are nice, but whatever.
That was good. That made the day for me because I was
Yeah.
toying with the idea of buying a pair of them. So it
Well,
was very nice.
You guys didn't get to ride on a train, so
Yeah.
I guess
We
we
went and got a
all
beer
That's
afterwards.
true. Yeah, we did. We went to the corner hotel and got a
precious
beer.
beer. Well, I love trains and having to pay for things.
Yeah, I thought that is your personality summed up.
Trains, money. That's what I
Having to leave early.
But fun event. Thanks to
Yeah.
Nintendo for getting us down. I can see why they did this like a weird
Yeah.
rollout of this game, like we've said, where they just sort of announced it about a month ago with no screenshots or trailer or anything like that. I think they've not really known how to push this to people because I don't know. And then it wasn't in that direct, but I think this is just gonna sit on the shelves and really only be picked up by young families whose kids absolutely loved 1-2 Switch.
And if you guys want to make up for my mistake of leaving without the free Joy-Cons, here's my full address. 1000 Cool Guy Road.
wow,
It's a
long ass road.
Yeah.
A lot of cool guys.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true.
The
That is
sunglasses
true.
shop does very well. Shame there's not more in there with some cool ideas that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really trimmed down what's in that package. And speaking of which, if you yearn for the days of HD Rumble and
Oh yeah.
trim down a
Feeling
package,
those balls
Yeah.
roll around.
Your D can be
Delicately.
H or S, but it will rumble once you run along it. The products from Manscaped.
Yes.
They have-
Traditionally, body hair trimming and grooming.
they're keeping with tradition as the
Yeah.
beard is a part of the body.
It's above the neck.
So I've been using their Lawnmower 4.0, which is a personal grooming body thing, as a face chopper.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a dick and ball shaver traditionally.
But if your face looks like a dick and balls, the world is your oyster.
Yep.
Sure.
But for the people who aren't so fortunate as to have a face that clearly resembles male genitalia, I haven't used it yet.
Okay.
But we've all gotten their new beard trimmer. I think it's
New
just
product.
called the beard trimmer.
It's called the beard hedger, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay.
I barely know her.
It is another really high quality thing from Manscaped.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped. Yeah,
I do love it. I mean, I imagine we can't be the only ones that talk about how the Lawnmower 4.0 also works great on a beard. And
I think
it
we
does
are.
feel like their hand has been forced into going like, all right, guys,
This
it's
one
for your
podcast,
pubes, okay?
They keep saying that it works great but smells weird. And it doesn't smell weird. It's just picked up a smell.
What if it is just literally the exact same thing, but in a different box?
Well, it's
bigger.
It's bigger. It's got a rotating
Length.
clip
Right?
guard adjustment thing.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
You can move up to, I think, 10 millimeters down to 0.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
I've just gotten my hair cut, and I got my beard done, and I'm not paying beard chopping prices these days to fuck it up myself.
Lots of
But,
comments on your haircut last week. by
Oh
the way.
yeah.
You do one nice thing for yourself, people notice.
Yeah.
A lot of
In
comments
150
saying,
years.
"Hey, well, okay." A lot of comments saying, "Hey, Adam looks great with his new haircut." One comment saying, "Hey, Ben and Tommy, why don't you take a leaf out of Adam's book and
Yeah.
get a haircut?"
You've got the right idea.
Yeah.
And you might benefit from the cool attitude that Manscaped gives you from having this thing run across your face. It's a good little pack. It comes with like some high quality scissors and beard
The scissors
conditioner.
were a fucking sweet bonus. I love a nice pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Little hair specific. Yeah.
With the place to rest your 3 fingers.
Oh, yeah. They've been doing a lot of work.
Chop that 4th one off with the scissors.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got every finger resting on those scissors.
Yeah, because you don't want to be friends with someone anymore and they won't take the hint. Manscaped's got you covered.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you can have a look at that. It's like a good little set and works
There's
well
also-
as a gift and that sort of thing.
There's like beard oil, beard
Yeah, yeah.
shampoo. Like there's all.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
stuff that I'm going to have to Google and know what it is. But it comes with like a little instruction book. But anyway,
It does.
if you want to have a look at it, manscaped.com is the place to go. And if you're checking out, use the code FILTHY and we'll give you 20% off and free shipping.
Yeah.
On
That's-
the house.
That's us. That's a deal we organise with Manscaped.
We
We
brokered.
pay for it all the... No, they pay us. But
yeah, they do.
They pass your savings on to us and that we have to
Yeah.
pick up the bill.
Yeah.
use the code FILTHY, manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. High quality shit yet again.
That's
Yeah.
right. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Manscaped.
Uh,
Now back to aforementioned show.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it 4 times. We're repeating ourselves on this thing. The olden days, back when Sega was falling out of the console wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's he
You
going?
might remember a little game coming out around then called Pikmin 1.
Oh.
At the time, people called it Pikmin.
I don't remember that.
Well, let me tell you, you don't have to.
Oh, thanks.
Because you can relive it today
What?
on the Nintendo Switch.
I don't think I will.
It's too expensive. You shouldn't. But
I genuinely did not know what Pikmin was until maybe Tommy played Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
Never
Right.
heard of it.
he's a real
Wasn't-
Pikmin boy. You know.
Well,
I wasn't until I'd played Pikmin 3.
yeah, right.
And that was like the re-release on the Switch that again is also too expensive.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a it was like one of Nintendo's newer things at the time. It was Miyamoto doing a new thing for the first time since like Star Fox or something.
Right.
So there was a bit of buzz around it at the time. It's a weird game. The version on the Switch is the one I'm playing. It's one of the ones that got dropped during the Direct
Yes.
a couple weeks ago. It's just the GameCube version. It hasn't had the sort of Metroid Prime remastered stuff done to it.
I think
It is
it's-
widescreen now, and like
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Like they've
I think it's the
up-resed it
Wii
and
version
whatever.
because they bumped them up a little bit and re-released them both on the Wii
Right.
with motion controls. And I think, from what I've read, they have tweaked the controls in both of them a bit to make them more in line with the controls in 3.
Well, they fucking suck. So I hope that's not the case as I go forward. Because I am enjoying it. It just like it's a 20-year-old game. And
Yeah.
so there's just bits and pieces of it that are awkward. Because the idea is if you're like Ben and Tommy recently and don't know about Pikmin, you're a tiny little alien who's crashed on a planet and, well, you're normal size to yourself, but the planet has big stuff. And you find these little grubby guys that you pluck out of the ground. They're called Pikmin, and you can have a team of them follow you around to do little tasks in the world. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a strategy game where you've got red, blue, and yellow Pikmin that each have sort of different abilities. The red are sort of your meat and potatoes Pikmin. You can chuck them at monsters to get them to fight them. You can walk them around like normal. You've got the yellow Pikmin who can pick up little bombs and they can get thrown higher. And then you've got the blue Pikmin who can go in water.
Okay.
And you've got
Okay.
30 days on this planet to go and collect all of your exploded spaceship parts. And it's on a real time limit. You've got, it's maybe 10 minutes a day or something. You get the daytime
Yep.
that will real time clock go through. And then you've got to go back to your ship at night. Any Pikmin you've left out in the world get eaten up at night time. The rest of you fly up to safety.
And so your treasure that you're looking for, it might say this needs 10 Pikmin. This is this heavy. It needs 10 Pikmin to
Right.
carry it back to the ship.
Okay.
So you assign 10 of them to do that. That'll take them a little while. When you kill an enemy, you can then take its body back to the ship and it goes up and sort of turns into seeds of new Pikmin because
Okay.
you lose them by... If if one of the red ones goes in the water, it dies.
Yep,
they
yep,
can
yep.
get eaten by other things. So you're kind
Yep.
of you're having to like assign them little tasks, but then also keep an eye on your sort of crew management of like maybe some of them have been taken out. So you got to make sure you've always got like enough on hand.
Right. Because you don't want to go too far away necessarily from, like, if you set up 30 guys to, there are these sort of rolled up bridges that they can knock at and start unrolling. If you leave them, there are some enemies in some levels who can come up to them while they're over there. and if you're not there, they're fucked.
Right.
So you've got to, it's about time management and about people management. And I'm so stressed out by it because I do not want to be in this managerial role.
Yeah, they put you in charge of the company. You're like, I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, my paycheck ain't enough for this, brother.
So I think I mentioned last week I've been playing a bit of 2, and 2 came out, I think, not all that long after. It's a GameCube as
Couple
well.
years, yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
pretty quickly after 1, and they got rid of the time limit. Like you still have to like go back to your ship at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but you don't have the 30-day time limit to get all this stuff done.
Okay.
So it's a little more forgiving and a smart change, and I feel like they've gotten like a little more lenient with each one. It controls better than I expected given how old it is, but still not perfectly.
It's just stuff like, because your Pikmin will run around behind you and you can like kind of hold down a button and move the stick to like get them to march in a certain direction behind you to kind of group them away from dangers or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But they will often, if you've got like a bigger group, they'll just fall off of the
They'll
edge
get
of a
stuck,
thing you're
yeah.
walking down, or like stray off, or like get distracted by something. So it can be, but it is part of the game of like, yeah, you got all these little guys you've got to manage.
Right, yeah.
And you can like get little you can break open little seeds that have sap in them that they eat, and then they get a little faster.
Okay.
So you
The
can
more
sort
their
of,
flowers bloom on the top of their head, the quicker they are. And they
yeah,
can keep
so you
up.
can sort of level them up so they follow you a bit quicker, and you're not having to sort of like constantly go back and like check on them.
Right.
And even that, like the AI and how they follow you, I think has gotten, as you'd expect, like better and better with each iteration. Because I was playing 2 for a bit, hit a bit of a wall with it, and went, I think I'll just duck out now. I've gotten my fix. I'll just wait for 4 to come out. And then a demo of 4 dropped during the week. And having the experience of playing 2 and sort of getting to grips with the controls of that, like not being perfect, but
Right.
sort of getting my head around it, and then playing a brand new version of it. It really did. It felt like what it is. It felt like playing a game from the future, where like literally like the next day being like, oh my God, this is all so much
Right.
smoother, so much better. Like there's so much more to do.
Because the way you're controlling stuff is like you're moving your guy Olimar in the first one at least around, but then you've kind of got this cursor ahead of you that is also moving with your stick, that is where you will like chuck Pikmin.
Okay.
And just it can be a little finicky and a little tough to like see exactly where it is with the angle of the camera, and so you'll be throwing Pikmin just past an enemy or whatever.
Yeah.
While trying to manage where the rest of the group of them, like it sounds...
And having a constant ticking clock.
Yeah.
Like once you get to grips with it, it is really satisfying and it's quite fun. And like I fell a bit behind on like, you've got 30 days and there's 30 ship parts, so you want to be getting one a day. And
How do you work that out?
that's my managerial skill coming
I
into play.
see.
Everyone needs to come back into the office. Pikmin need to be on the field. There were a couple days where I fell behind, and like there was a big massacre. And
Oh, no.
I got really worried, but I went and farmed some Pikmin
Your
for a
first,
day.
like, because it's sort of they're all kind of like relatively easy to begin with. Like, you just amass so many of them, and I think each game has like a limit of the number of them that you can have on the. So you do hit like a limit. I think you can have like 50 or something, whatever it is, and you just hit that pretty easily when you start playing, and you're like, oh, I'm golden here. I'm never
Yeah.
going to run out of these things.
Right.
And then you have your first time where you go into a new area where you just lose nearly all of them, and
Yeah.
you need like 10 of the electric ones to be able to like pull down this fence, and you start from scratch having to farm them again. It's devastating when you have your first wipe.
And
out
when
of a
you've
lot
got a limit of a month, it is petrifying.
Yeah.
Because like, will I just not recover and I'll waste 5 hours of playing through this? It's about 5 hours long.
Right,
Yeah.
And there's a
right.
bad ending or a good ending or a perfect ending. So like, it's not like it goes fuck you, but it kind of does. So but I went and farmed some, and then like got 3 parts in one day and was just
You're laughing.
that day.
So,
What a day.
Boys,
I organised-
efficiency is at an all-time high.
pizza party for the Pikmin on Friday. It's demanding, that first one, in some ways, and stressful, same way as like Dead Rising was, where having a real-time clock that has a hard limit is... obviously, it's always on your mind while you're playing it.
Yep.
And that stuff can be kind of stressful. But I think it's actually tipped over the point where I'm like, actually, this is fucking cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it and pushing past the controls and all of that. It looks nice. Like, it's a 20-year-old game and, the resolution is high and whatever, but it looks old. But the design of everything is really cute and fun.
Nintendo style traditionally is evergreen because it is so stylized, right?
Yeah.
It still has that.
Yeah,
for
nice.
sure.
So the demo of 4, it gives you basically it gives you about 2 hours. So it basically, once you're like moving around little areas and you're getting the treasures and they're being converted into energy. So once you hit X amount of energy to move on to the next area, that's where the demo ends. So it's pretty robust. So
Is this a save carryover thing too?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Okay.
It looks great. Like that immersion of you're in a basically Earth backyard, but everything's massive because your characters are very tiny.
Right, it's real Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, there's a big can of baked beans over there. And whatever.
Grounded style. Remember Grounded?
Yes.
Yeah.
With a bit more horsepower behind it, like that, conceit really gets across a lot more. And this new system where you have a little dog in this new one is just a really smart addition because you can have you and all the Pikmin ride around on him, so you don't have that thing of like them trailing behind you and them getting lost. So it just streamlines that. He's a lot stronger, so things like knocking down those bridges and walls and stuff, you can have him do them. You can have him like kind of charge at barriers and stuff. So all those like little things that you used to have to assign Pikmin to do, which might take a little while and be a bit frustrating if you didn't have like a big team of them, they just get like way more streamlined and like they're way easier to do by just having this little dog set out to do them. He's like a really smart addition because he just makes some things that were a bit arduous just a bit quicker and a bit cleaner.
Do you know what's funny though is like as stressed as I was getting by this stuff, when you see that like forward planning that you've done, like, okay, I'll have a couple shit days, but I'll knock down this wall, which will make this path quicker, and then and like things going wrong and you're like, oh fuck, but the stakes being as high as they are with the time limit, I've come around to it. So I almost feel like I'm gonna miss that maybe in the
you still have the day limit though, like you still have the sun starting to come down, so you got to get them all back, or you were like, oh, I just it's only going to take me like another minute or so for this bridge to be built, but then you get the little come on, get back to the ship. It's like, oh fuck, all right, I know I'm definitely going to get it done first thing tomorrow now, so I better get back to the ship. Getting a spaceship
part back there when the big 2 from the countdown was on the screen. Oh, what a feeling! I'm the Pikmin god.
I imagine as well that just generally speaking, games are built to be a little bit more accessible these days.
Yeah,
and I imagine that. While the beginning of Pikmin 4 may be a bit easier because there's your little dog helper, it's going to get more complex as it goes.
More complex,
right?
and also this is one that's like it's grading you on like how much stuff you've done. Because something that was in 2 that I think then wasn't in 3 but is back in this is you have these little underground areas that you go into that are like these sort of self-contained little mazes that'll have treasure hidden in them and some enemies and stuff that are
little
you're
dungeons.
then getting your stuff. Yeah, little dungeons that you're then getting ranked on. This also has like a new little thing where you'll go into again another little dungeon that's sort of like a little competitive challenge thing where you're racing an AI character in this same area to collect as much treasure as you can and get the highest score. So you're competing against and you're getting graded and you're getting a little medal. So there's sort of lots more stuff in this that's sort of pushing you towards that 100% completion, and it'll show you in the area like you've found this much of the treasure, or you've like taken down this many of the bridges, or
it
whatever
is something
it is.
that they can't do too much of in 1 with the time limit too. It's like it has to be a however long it is 5-hour game, and I've enjoyed the couple of little spaceship parts that have had sort of a puzzle to get to them, and it can't have too much of that because there's not a ton in there. It's quite short, this game, and like if you were wasting a whole day trying to figure out this puzzle, you'd be pissed off at it. So they're quite lightish, where it's like, oh, I need to throw them onto this bit and then convert them to, there are little flowers that change their color and then throw them to this bit and stuff like that. But being able to expand that part of it by getting rid of the time limit, and the time limit's done in 1. Like, it's cool that this is on the Switch now, I guess, even though like it's $40, which we've talked about that stuff heaps, but it's one of those things where like the Metroid thing, they did a bunch to it. This one,
and I think with these games especially too, they're a little like the way they iterate them in each one, and they are kind of like a reset in terms of the story 3 already being on there is like you. And also when 3 came out, it's sort of the similar thing with 4. When 3 came out, it was like 10 years or so since the last one, so they were doing a bit. They knew that people coming to it were probably playing it for the first time, and it's the same with this. So it's not like a thing where you need the entire, like with Metroid Prime, it's like an ongoing story. So it makes sense to kind of hopefully have all of them in the one place for people to play through and get all of that. With this, you just don't really need that. Like they got a bit better and they sort of streamlined because you are sort of doing a lot of the same stuff.
Well, that's why I think 1 was the more interesting to me to have a look at before 4
because
because
it
has
new
the different stuff and it was the first one and they're fleshing it out. But it is also the one that shows its age the most. So
the thing from 1 that I think from 2 onwards, you're not looking for parts to repair your spaceship. You're getting little treasures out in the world that are like real world items, and a lot of like the charm of the games is you'll pick up an orange and you bring it back to your ship, and there's like your ship just you've come up with a name for it because you don't know what it is. So it'll be like, the orange gets sucked into the ship and then it comes up. This is a citrus orb. Like the fun of just
he knows citrus but not an orange.
Yeah, I know. And like the real world things where you like early on in 4 you find a Game Boy Advance just like hidden in the dirt, so you're like carrying it. It's called like Stone of Advancement or something like that. Like just all those kind of cool like little real world things that you're finding that I think they had a lot more fun with in 2 onwards, where you weren't just looking for parts of the spaceship, you were collecting treasures.
It sounds like we both kind of agree that like if you're interested and haven't played 1, probably just hang out till 4.
Get the demo of 4. Like it's free. It gives you like a good chunk of the game. It's like basically you can do the whole first area. There's like people have found out how to stretch it out to 6 hours if you just hold off on getting that last little. Because once you hit that enough of the energy to get to the next level, it ends the demo. Yeah. But so if you just hold off on getting that and like build a few more bridges, you can get into
real
like
the whole
end
of financial year. Like, oh no, that invoice can wait till July. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's real like back in the day, being a kid, not having much or any disposable income, getting a demo
disc. Which I never do, by the way. I've heard of people doing that.
Getting a demo disc.
I've heard of clients doing that.
Getting a demo disc and just like working out how to hammer that as much as you could.
Yeah,
it's
for
real
sure.
like, oh well, this is free, so I want to squeeze every bit of citrus orb I can out of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But not a huge not a huge amount of reason to go back. I can see myself finishing 4 and then maybe dipping back in on the rest of 2 just to scratch more of that itch. But
and I must have played 1 level of Pikmin 1 at some point just because I was like, I never actually got into it because it is a different thing to kind of what I thought in a way. Like
I can see it. Yeah, it does seem like a thing that more people would enjoy than are familiar with it, because it's like it's a cool little real-time strategy game with an interesting, weird little conceit, and it's all like resource management and time management. There must be. I assume this is like a Japanese term, the term dandori, which is like time management, which I think has been a sort of background philosophy like driving all these games. But then in 4 it is explicitly referenced constantly. Like characters are constantly saying to you, you just got to master the skill of dandori. Like it's funny that it was just sort of a background, that's the inspiration for these games, and then just in 4 it's like front and center when characters are talking about it constantly.
In Tears of the Kingdom, they've been like, you're like a little boy exploring the woods, aren't you?
yeah, exactly.
Where you find a cave there? You've played demos.
Oh, I'm all over demos, yeah. I'm that little boy playing his PlayStation demo disc from the front of the magazine.
This gives me an idea. I'm going to find a cave.
Yes.
The backwards Miyamoto. Also my favorite sexual position. Is it like the Steam Demo Fest or something that's on at the moment?
Not anymore. It was during Summer Games Fest. There was the Steam Next Fest.
Okay.
Where they do it every year. They've done it for a few years now, I believe, where they put up like literally 70 demos of indie games in most cases. I don't know, there might have been some like AA games in there as well, but there was a few that sort of got a bit of buzz, and I gave a bit of a honk of. One of them we actually already knew about. It was the game Jusant.
Yes.
It was in...
The climbing one.
Yeah.
From the Xbox?
The Xbox, I think. Yeah. So that's an indie game, but had a bit more of a feature already. You climb up a mountain. That's the game. I loved it. I loved playing the demo. It's very a very peaceful, very calming sort of game. The design is very, I don't know, I liked it. It's very like visually sort of cute, but very clear what you have to do. There is this sort of passive story unfolding as you climb further and further up, and you're like, oh, what's going on down on the ground? What's going on up here? Those that came before were trying to get over the mountain, and so, there's a bit of that stuff going on. But yeah, the way it builds, it's sort of reminiscent of Heavenly Bodies, where you are one joystick and one trigger is one arm, one hand.
Oh, right,
so you're reaching and clutching. Further up, you get little, what are they called? Pinions? Little climbing
Pikmin.
equipment. That's right. And so you have like a water Pikmin that you put in the water. But
useless for climbing. Makes it so much harder.
Yeah. You got to drink them to replenish yourself, I guess. Yeah. But no, you can like add little bits in the wall. When you can like jump, you can use them as leverage and jump up to a bit of rock.
Yep.
You will get like little places you can attach a little rope to, so you can swing to a different part. So it slowly introduces all of these mechanics to you across the course of this demo, which is maybe an hour, hour and a half tops. But it's really intelligent. It's very satisfying to figure out how to put all these bits of mechanics together to make your way up this complex sort of rock face. Little bits where you stop off and you're walking around and there's like an old camp that was there and you're picking up bits of information. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to play the full game.
That's cool. This type of like climbing thing has always really interested me, and I've never had one of those sorts of games hit with me. We're like Grow Home, remember that? And like these sorts of platforming games where you're meant to go up and up. There's like one that's
Donkey Kong King of Swing on the DS.
Wow, okay.
It sounds similar to that, where you were using the
Shoulder
triggers to like
buttons.
control his hands. And
Right.
there's one that's like a Twitch meme type of game thing at the moment called like Forever Upwards or something. But it looks fun to me, where you are climbing up this enormous distance.
Yes.
But the jumping mechanics also look bad. Like it looks awful to actually control.
Getting over it was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff never appeals to me, where it's like, but it's like bad, which is fun.
No, it's not that.
I made this game to prank you.
Sounding like this has a little bit of a nice story to it that like sounds almost like what was it, fucking Unpacking, where it's just like a little bit of background.
Yeah, bit of unpacking, bit of journey, bit of just like as you would when you were like traversing through the world in Horizon or whatever, except you just take away all of the actual story and it's just your environmental storytelling. But yeah, I like it. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I heard it was a bit buggy, but I also didn't experience any bugs.
Cool.
I thought it was really fun.
Cool.
What else did I play? There was a game that you put in our group chat yesterday.
Yeah. This just came up as a sponsored ad on Facebook.
Right. I
Weirdly.
think it
Don't
was...
let them know that shit works.
Yeah.
It was in maybe like the Annapurna showcase or one of the indie showcases, because I'd also...
That's actually where I saw it. I just remembered.
Good.
I didn't respond to a Facebook ad at all.
Good.
I saw it on the Annapurna showcase.
Yeah, good. It's called Laika something.
Laika?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is what, the first dog in space? Is that Laika?
Second dog as far as I'm concerned.
After
Yuri Gagarin had that dog.
Oh, yes. I mean, duh. So this game visually looks great. Has a great style to it.
Post-apocalyptic. You're a little doggy on a motorbike.
Yes.
Going through the wasteland.
I believe you're a... I guess you're a dog, yeah, if you're like you look like a fox kind of, or a wolf, but
sure.
Your initial goal is like, oh, there's some like raiders over there and you've got to go and see if your mate's okay. And it is a side-scrolling, what do they call it? Like a Motorvania or something?
Fuck knows what that means. Is that like Car Castlevania?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Car Sylvania.
Right, exactly.
Well, it's on a motorbike though, so it's...
Castlevania.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch.
Yep.
So it's actually more like Trials, the motorbike
Okay.
platforming game, in that it's very annoying to control.
Okay.
It looks great. The like acting and the writing and stuff is all very well delivered. You know, the atmosphere is cool, but it's really hard to get my head around. So you're like, you know, it's like left trigger to accelerate, left joystick to lean forwards and back, you know, like your trials. But then at some point it introduces right trigger to shoot, or right joystick to aim, right trigger to shoot.
Okay.
And there are enemies shooting at you and stuff, but you're also like, you've got to do that while doing this very touchy platforming of like getting up and over things and using leverage and going fast and not ramming your head into the wall because you just die instantly, as with the Trials games. It's just, there's a lot going on. There's maybe a little bit too much to wrap your head around.
Right.
I wonder if this is the sort of thing. It's always hard to know with games that are having demos where, like, how far along they are. Like, whether, like, so obviously in the case of Pikmin 4, the demo exists to get more people to want to purchase the game.
Sure.
But I feel like on PC, it tends to be a lot more, no, we want that feedback. Like, we want to be able to respond to people to saying, because we're at least a year out from actually putting this out. So,
yeah, sure.
But I wonder if this is a thing where they are, putting it out there now as kind of an early build to maybe be able to, scale some of that stuff back or make it a bit more intuitive and seamless.
But I guess, I mean, if you're like a Super Meat Boy, you know, extreme 2D platform head, then the challenge of this probably appeals.
Yeah,
and
you could new control scheme.
Get into that real flow state of it would be really satisfying and rewarding. If
you could say the same thing of what was it called? Roller Drone, where there's an element at the start where it throws all this at you where you kind of feel like, oh God, I don't, I got to keep my eye on so many different things. But then it's exactly that. Once you get into that state where you're like, oh, okay, this trigger, that trigger, like it does feel so smooth and so
if you're
rewarding.
playing it for the first time, if you're a Laika virgin, then you're not going to be able to... Don't make that fucking noise at me.
Every time you do one of them, you get a different response from me and Ben. You've been annoyed by every single one we've ever done, and one of these days we're gonna give the response where you go, "Thanks, boys."
Yeah, it's like a little,
just like a,
you know, when you get a react thing show up on your phone, it's like that but with noise.
Getting the thumb. Fuck, I hate getting the thumb.
Oof.
Perfect. Oh, don't give me the perfect sign. That means you hate it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's interesting, and it's a demo. It's worth playing. I also play probably my favorite alongside Jusant was a game. I think we all have already heard about this. The Viewfinder game.
Hearing a lot about this.
It's
Viewfinder.
It reminds me of Supernormal. No, Supernatural. Superliminal. It's that sort of thing, right? Where you're getting photos and you are placing them in the world to create objects or pathways in the world, right?
You're not just getting photos, you're taking photos as well.
Right.
So, there's a probably 2-ish hour demo of this available, or at least there was during the Next Fest thing.
I think there may still be on the PlayStation Store. I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, the conceit is that you are trying to make your way from the starting point to the teleporter, usually, to end the level, and it's basically like floating platforms in a void. And the way to get from one to the other is to either pick up a picture that is in the level somewhere already, and then place that, and then realize like, it is a 3D space. It's not just a 2D picture.
So if it's like a picture of a bridge that is a flat photograph and there's a bridge there, but you place it in your view, like that maquette game as well.
Yes.
Where
very much like that.
You know, when people hold it up like, this is my granddad in the same spot 30 years ago, and they hold up a photograph and then it matches with the fence.
Sure.
You do that, then you walk around and, oh my God, granddad's back.
Totally. Or, you're like doing your Leaning Tower of Pisa pose.
Yeah.
But then you like swivel around and you're like, oh, now I can walk up it and it's only as big as a ladder.
I actually pushed it up.
Yeah. It's that. It's also, getting given a magical camera that can take photos and then you can print them out and put them.
A magical camera that can take photos.
This sounds. I'm a little bit disappointed with the trick here.
Let me finish my sentence.
I've not interrupted you.
A magical camera that can print out photos Full stop. And then, you use them as similarly to the ones that you pick up, except obviously you take them, so it's up to you what you take a photo of to then use as platforming, obstacles and traversal sort of points. And then you usually, I think throughout the demo, you get a limited number of photos to take in each level as well. And you can just rewind. If you fuck up, you just literally hold right trigger and it rewinds everything you've done.
Emulator style.
Totally. It shows you on a timeline where you've taken the photos. It, I think, also tells you, like, if you've placed one in a bad position, it's like gives you an X. And you can get to a point where it's like you can't finish the level.
It's very
so.
funny. The game just being like, oof.
Ooh, brother.
Not how I would have done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so, Ed.
Anyone can just pick up a fucking camera, can't they?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But there's a true artistry to solving the puzzles. It's great. It's really,
Cool.
It uses a lot of lateral thinking. It introduces a bit more complications of like teleporting from one point of a level to another point of a level. And, it gradually sort of increases in complexity. And you can just like fuck your way to the end as well. If you're just like, all right, I'm just going to...
Much like life itself.
I'm stacking up these photos of like weird diagonal bits, like you can just sort of scrabble your way to the exit point rather than perfectly aligning all these bridges.
Tears of the Kingdom style. There's like an elegant way that they've intended for you to be able to do it, but you can just be like, nah, I don't feel like
I know how to build the
here.
hover bike. I'll see you later.
Yes. So I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with
Cool.
it. Yeah, your maquettes, your witnesses, that first-person puzzle game. It's right in that wheelhouse. So
Sweet.
Even though there have been quite a few of them now of that, like that your perspective changes the world, I still don't know how the fuck they do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
They got a magic camera or some shit in there.
yeah, in their brains.
Yeah. I wish I had a camera in my brain, dude. That not being able to visualize stuff shit,
Yeah.
it still fucks with me to this day that everyone else is walking around able to just go like, yeah, I'm looking at an apple. Fucking freaks.
Yeah, I'm reading a book and I'm hearing the voice.
hearing
in
I
my
can't
head.
even tell a real fucking book from a wallpaper, let alone just think of one.
Man, yeah,
I was
you're
actually
operating
thinking about
from
this the other night. I'm a slow reader, and I assume it's because I'm like in my head.
You're just a slow talker.
I'm hearing it. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like
'cause I'm a
if you're not
very
doing
fast
that, you're
reader.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is a good. I can read quick because there ain't nothing happening.
I haven't
It just
updated
goes
the iOS in my
Yeah.
brain to have the like 1.5 speed setting podcast app
Yeah.
style.
Your brain can get hacked. That means
Oh, brain hacks. I'm
Yeah.
living for brain hacks.
I
I played another demo.
Oh yeah.
It was an Australian game called Broken Roads.
Broken
It is
Roads.
Broken Roads. Broken Hill, more like
Nice.
it. It is a Wasteland style, early Fallout game style,
Yep.
isometric RPG.
An Australian game about a wasteland. What is this about?
Yep.
Dandenong?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah.
no, it's in the outback.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying out my new.
What if Mad Max was Australian? What would that
I'm
be like?
fucking. What's a Australian word for mad?
Pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, pissed
Troppo
off
Max.
Maxi.
Pissed off Pete.
Troppo Max is probably what I was thinking. Yeah.
Broken Roads.
It's okay. I think if you loved like Wasteland 3, that what came out a couple of years ago, turn-based combat, doing your quests, walking around, talking Baldur's Gate style, I guess.
Right.
Except a little bit, not so much action RPG, more, a leisurely pace. I reckon give it a crack. It's not the kind of game I usually play, so it didn't really hook me. But everything that was in it was done very well. It was very polished. All the characters were well voiced. Like it had a lot of personality to it. I recommend giving it a try if you are a Wasteland fan, or even like an isometric RPG fan in general, like a Divinity Original Sin kind of person. It's worth a crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Another game that's probably worth a crack is one that you and I have been playing and that I think I've been calling Diver Dan without fail every time I've thought of it.
Yep.
That I think is actually called Dave the Diver.
It's called Dave the Diver.
Okay.
It's not the most, probably a better name would serve it well. Doesn't do the best job of really conveying what it is. It's a pretty forgettable title.
I think this again was in some showcase. We saw a trailer for it maybe, and it was like, okay, yeah, swimming around. But it's more than that.
Yeah, it's
the
a bit-
actual premise is much more interesting.
Yeah, it's very Cult of the Lamb in that it's taking two sort of disparate genres that generally sort of exist by themselves and marrying them together very elegantly and making kind of both separate genre kind of shine a little bit more because of the things that
Right.
you're doing in the other element to
Yeah. Because neither of them are particularly complex, what you're doing. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do in terms of, like...
What are the two genres?
You're a diver called Dan, which does make it weird that it's called Dave the Diver.
yeah.
the
The genre of Sea Change, the TV show, and video game.
There's the diving element. You might have imagined that.
Yeah.
Was in there. So you're
Swimming around, diving.
2D diving around in this ever-changing lagoon called Roguelike Lagoon or something, and you're swimming down and upgrading your equipment and spearfishing fish and picking up bits of what do you call it, flotsam and jetsam and shit, and looking for artifacts that are under the water and doing diver shit.
You've got your
like
harpoon,
that.
and then you can, over the course of the game, you get like different types of guns, and you can get upgrades to your harpoon. And the deeper you get, the more challenging the fish are to sort of catch and take down. They might, as you get into deeper areas, they might attack you. So you've got to either like dodge them or take them out with the stronger weapons that you've got. You've got limited air supply, which you can upgrade. You've also got a limited amount of weight of things that you can carry back up to the surface.
It's all that very roguelike-y loop of like, I'm getting a little bit more stuff each time to buy a little bit better equipment to go a little further, da-da-da.
Yep.
And the reason that you're fishing for fish is because you work at a fish shop, a sushi restaurant.
Okay.
At night time.
So you have during the day you're on the boat, and I think each day cycle you get to do 2 expeditions worth.
Morning and afternoon.
Yeah, and you get that really satisfying thing when you're diving of like, okay, I'm about to hit the weight limit. I know I want this fish for the menu in the sushi restaurant. I've gotten him. I'm all right. I've got that. I'm running low on air. I'll get him, and then I'll go back up. And then you find little oxygen tanks kind of down on the ocean floor, and so you're like, well, now I'm completely replenished. Maybe I can go a little bit further. Okay. So you're getting as much fish as you can.
Yep.
Then at night, you're clocking on at the sushi restaurant.
Yeah, you're not the chef. They've got a world-renowned sushi chef, but he's a bit down on his luck or something.
Yeah.
And he's working at this sort of shitty place now, but he makes good sushi in like fun little animations. And you're being the waiter. So it's people will sit down and go, I want the blue sushi. And then he cooks the blue sushi and you run over and get it and bring it to him. That
You're
sort of
sort
thing.
of doing almost overcooked style of like, it's on a 2D plane, but it's like, okay, that's ready. This person over here needs it. And then they've got their little bar of like, them getting angry that it's taken too long, and then they'll storm off. You also have to put the menu together based on which fish you've caught. And so each type of sushi will get you different satisfaction points from customers, might cost more, and you're able to upgrade and do more stuff at the restaurant based on this sort of social media app that you're trying to feed. So it's like, oh, we've gotten this many likes now, we're up to this level, so you can put more complex recipes on the menu. You can eventually, if you get enough money, you can hire staff to kind of help out at the restaurant, so the cooking will go a bit quicker. People help you with the service.
It's a lot of different little bits and pieces all going on, kind of like sushi, where they're all quite small on their own, but as a whole, you've always got a couple of things in your mind to do.
Yep.
And every new thing that it introduces to you, there's like all the like writing and character stuff is really fun and well done. I'm finding like each new person that comes along, like there's a guy that will make you new weapons if you find enough sort of scraps, and he's this guy who's like obsessed with anime, and he's like, every time you get him to craft a new weapon, there's like a very anime style cutscene of him like building his gun, and you're seeing his little figurines.
Bursts up and twirls into a Sailor Moon and whatever.
Right.
And
there's like a...
Sounds hot.
There's basically Ash Ketchum, but he's like, don't call me that.
Yeah,
and he's got a Pokemon app, basically, where you collect
right.
each fish you get gives you that fish card.
Oh,
so you're
right.
going to fill out all the cards.
There's like a lady who hosts a TV show where she's bringing kind of these influences into the restaurant. So you'll get like, hey, in 2 days' time, this person's going to come in and eat at the sushi restaurant, and this is the sort of stuff that they love.
Right.
So make sure that you have like tons of this kind of fish on the menu. So you're kind of like counting down to that and making sure you like catch as much. So you'll have like your main storyline progression stuff that's basically like go and find this in the ocean, and then you'll be able to get this upgrade and move on to this next part of the ocean and this next part of the story. But then there'll also be, oh, this person wants you to look for this, or this thing is upcoming.
Yeah.
So there's often like
Right.
3 or 4 things kind of juggling. to
wreck
go on.
or whatever, where we want you to find this much iron, and they better and yeah, none of them are deep, but there's so many of them,
Right.
that it has a momentum to it that is satisfying.
It really is, yeah. It is so similar to Cult of the Lamb in that thing of you're going off and doing your thing, you're having a lot of fun doing that, and then you're just in a completely different type of game for 10 minutes. But the little reprieve of, oh yeah, cool, now I'm just running around serving people my sushi, and yeah, wow, that went really well. We made a lot of money, and it's like really inspiring to like then those next 2 runs you get, you're like, oh man, it is very funny that like the like fish will attack you in the water, and your approach is, I'm going to blow this thing's brains out with my shotgun,
Yeah. Right.
and then I'm going to serve it for dinner in my sushi restaurant.
Oh, God.
The aiming is like the one thing I'm not enjoying with it, where you like hold down A and then you kind of move along like a little bar
yeah.
that shows up to the side, and I'm just finding I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
suppose.
It is, I think it's sort of by design where it limits you to sort of an angle, to sort of where, yeah, you might be in the heat of the moment where you're being attacked by a shark or a fish or whatever, and it's, you know, it's just slightly out of the range, so you can't go like directly up and shoot it, so you need to like swim back a little bit. I think it's sort of meant to be.
I think it's meant to be. I just
yeah,
am not
but it
having
is,
fun
I
doing
kind
it.
of
Where
have the same
like
thing, yeah.
some of the fish are so little too that you're trying to spear them, but if they're far away enough, you're just like, it looks like you, but you just miss. And whatever. It's not a big deal, but that's the only thing where I'm finding myself getting like a bit annoyed. But the personality of it and everything, everyone treats Dave like shit.
Yeah.
They're all just like kind of forcing him to do all these jobs. He's like, oh, that's not really my job, and they're like, you'll do it.
Yeah. You've
but-
got all your like different little menu things you're going to, are just like apps that you get on your phone. It's like that kind of thing. So your weapons thing is an app. Your like all the personality of it is really well done. The little kind of LucasArtsy style animated cutscenes that play when things are happening and you're meeting characters and stuff are really well done.
Really cartoony, but like very pixely things that work super well. And then you've got like a kind of 3D backdrop under the ocean as well.
Great music.
Yep.
Cool music when you're exploring around. Really catchy tunes. The only thing I don't like about it, weirdly, there is no VSync option, which is maybe the only game I've played on PC that doesn't have that as an option. And yeah, I'm just getting little bits of screen tear on my monitor when I'm... It just seems weird to not have that on there after...
I've not noticed that because I've got like a G-Sync one.
Right.
So I suppose if you've got that... Yeah, buddy, I know where the G-Sync is. It's up and like sort of up. Like you've got to do a come hither
up
motion
and
on...
sort of up, yeah.
If under your monitor the button is like on the bottom, you do a come hither motion.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's how you turn G-Sync on.
The game has updated...
And then the monitor goes, just move over there.
Just taps you on the shoulder.
Yeah.
No, that's
Come on, why don't you come up for air?
No, I'm diving. I'm Dave.
The
Smells
game
like
has...
a sushi restaurant. Anyway.
It's updated like 3 times in the week that I've had it, and I keep thinking,
really?
here we go. Because I looked it up, and I was like, oh, maybe it's hidden in a part of the... But there's like, all these forum things going, like, why does this game not have it? Like, I'm sure it'll come at some point.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
just one
isn't.
of
Like,
those
it looks so
things-
great, and just getting that annoying little
PC
screen tear
games
stuff.
these days, like Diablo 4 not having a way to change your resolution from the monitor default
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that where it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. I know you can patch
Yep.
stuff now, but come on, guys.
But yeah, great game. I don't know if these people have done anything before. They're a Korean developer. They're
I felt like I recognized the name, but I don't know if that's
Right.
if that actually happened or if I just saw some words and went, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's always got the version number down the bottom right too. That's a little
you
funny.
said that.
the
That's
other
weird.
Yeah, that's that with
Very fussy in some way, but also like, why is that there?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that
just
plus the
odd.
not having VSync thing, it does weirdly make it... Those two things make it kind of feel like it's still in early access, because it was
Yeah.
in early
Oh,
access
right.
for a long time. But yeah, it's great. I really, really, really recommend it. I would assume it'll come to like Switch and PS and stuff in the future. So I think it'll get a bigger audience then. But yeah, if you got a PC or a Steam Deck or whatever, I really recommend this one. It's a lot of fun. Really unique. Full personality.
Two great fishing games in 1 year.
I know.
And neither of them are like big bass fishermen or whatever.
Normally we get 10 great fishing games a year. Where's Big Bass Fisherman?
And meanwhile, I saw someone write a thing about how they found this weird, and it kind of made me go, oh yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, no fishing in it. You're constantly around bodies of water. There are fish in the game, and there's
you can
no
blow
option
them
to
up
fish.
or whatever.
Yeah,
You can
just
shoot
grab
him with your shotgun.
Yeah.
With your Zonite shotgun.
I'm not as hot on this one. It feels like a little bit like this kind of like the two different types of thing and whatever. It's like, it's like roguelite stuff. The numbers are going up. Like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not finding it very roguelite because that area, the area that you dive in, like it does kind of change, but then there are big things about it that stay consistent. There's like kind of 3 areas so far in how far I am that are like always there. So the little paths to them might change a little bit.
More just the loop of like you get the 2 times to do this, and then you get the restaurant, and then the 2 times, and then the restaurant, and it's like you're kind of building it up slowly. That type of slow build, I guess, is it's still good, but like if you could only play one fishing game this year, I'd still probably go Dredge over this.
Okay, interesting. I'll give this a crank.
It's good.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it too.
Apologies, I haven't played anything the past week because I've been sick and I've been coughing heaps on this episode. So sorry if that's been annoying people.
I asked him to do it
talked
direct.
about like 4 games.
But I played them 2 weeks ago.
True.
The people would never.
The people
have known.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I did ask Ben to cough directly into the mic,
Yeah.
but he hasn't been doing it, I don't think. So
Oh,
sorry
no,
about that.
No,
too.
I apologize for that as well. My aim, it's like David the Diver. It's off. It's slightly off.
Yep. Well, we better leave it there for another week. Thank you very much for joining us. filthycasuals.com.au for the links to all the other stuff we have going on. We have our Patreon. We are in the midst of Giant July. Thank you to everyone who tuned in for our gaming session over the weekend. We played some games with some patrons. There's video of that on our Patreon if you want to catch up and rewatch that. We've also got
up on the $10 tiers as well.
Yeah. That's about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours.
3 hours, I think.
Of gaming, yes.
That's the big content tier. That's the one that we're spruiking for Giant July.
Yep. So you can watch back that session.
We've got a commentary track coming up for the film The Wizard. We've got a playthrough of an FMV game called Bloodshaw.
Oh, yes.
We've
That
got
was
a
fun.
premium
That was
bonus
great,
episode coming up. And you also get a bonus episode every week
Hell
if you
yeah.
get on that tier. So, lots of content going on at the moment. Get on there, support the show. Helps us keep the lights on, and we truly very much appreciate it.
We do.
We really do.
Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
Diver Dave. It truly took me by surprise that time.
Sing something from Seussical.
I've already sung too much Seussical probably.
Okay, so you're going to leave it at Diver Dave?
No, there's a fucking grain in my brain. That's why I
that's
couldn't
kinda
think of
Seussical.
anything.
Seussical,
I know,
yeah.
that's why I
That's
said
All
it.
right, we're out.
Yeah.